Amy.
Riley.
Amy, I'm so sorry. I started out Turtle Time by scaring you. I'm so sorry. I didn't tell you I was going to do that.
It's going to take me a minute to recover.
I am so sorry. The only reason I did that was because it's October 4th when this comes out, and I just wanted to kind of get in that spooky spirit. But I next time I'm never going to start out just immediately with that scary voice again. I'm sorry about that.
Are you guys going to do, you don't have to reveal it, but a family costume?
No, I'll reveal it right now. We're either going to do 3 Men and a Baby with my friend Brock and Spencer, and I think I'm going to be Ted Danson. My friend Spencer is going to be Tom Selleck, and then Brock is going to be whoever the hell that last guy is, Steve Guttenberg. And then I don't know. We have a lot of ideas. That's just one of them. And then I don't know what Megan would do in that one. And then there's a couple other good ones that I'll have to think about while we're talking, but that's on the front of the options this year.
The other day, Cinematrix was Bruce Willis, and I had to think for a second if he was involved in that movie, but he did a different baby movie, right?
Thank you for saying this, because you make me seem like I'm a Cinematrix head. Yes, I think he was the voice of the baby or the dog in Look Who's Talking 3 or 2, because it started, you know what I'm talking about? So Look Who's Talking had famously John Travolta and whoever the hell else, and then
Is Kirstie Alley in that?
You hit the Cinematrix nail on the head. That was Kirstie Alley, rest in peace, right? And then John Travolta, and then let me make sure, because I hate giving misinformation on Turtle Time. What's his name that you just said? Bruce Willis, baby. I'm almost positive he was the voice. Okay. I think he was the voice of the baby, the main baby in the first one. So did you get that right, or were you worried?
I don't think I used it. I went a different way because I wasn't sure.
Okay, wow, so you had so many options that you didn't even have to rely on that one.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff. Yeah, I got screwed today because it was Mean Girls themed. Amanda Seyfried, Rachel McAdams, and Lindsay Lohan.
Why'd they do that?
And it's October 3rd. It's like
What's
that meme, you know?
Oh, no, I don't. Well, that's when we're recording this episode, just so everybody knows. So this will have been yesterday when you're listening. But what the hell did they say about
Mean
October?
Girls Day. It's like when she has a crush on Aaron Samuels, he like asks her for the date, and she's like, "It's October 3rd," and it's like a whole thing.
Oh, I remember that. Okay, that's very fun. Wow.
Yeah, thematic. But the left column was 80% plus on Rotten Tomatoes, which for Amanda Seyfried, I bet there's one that you would think of that I don't ever think of, so I didn't think of it.
One that I think of all the time that is over 80%. Yes, I know what it is.
Everyone to watch.
Yeah, yes, I know what it is. I want to say two things. First of all, you probably can't say Les Mis because that, unfortunately, was panned by critics. I don't know what the hell those critics were thinking. They must have all been in a bad mood during that season.
It felt
it's like it had like a 60% or something. I don't know what the hell these critics were thinking going into Les Mis and being like, Russell Crowe can't sing and this looks like
Mamma
shit.
Mia. I'm like, the Mamma Mias are perfect. What's wrong with you?
Critics are so stupid. Those are the same critics that are saying Megalopolis is good.
But upside down.
But I know exactly what you're saying. The movie. Can I just start spelling it for you and you tell me if it's good? It starts with an M, right?
Yeah.
Keeps going with an A.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I put an N?
Give me an N.
And then K for make, right? Wow. So you haven't seen Make yet, right?
No, I have seen it. I watched it like when it first came out on Netflix or whatever. But I like forgot. I should have thought of it. And I also didn't think about a movie that I've also seen, First Reformed.
She's in that. She plays...
yeah, there's only like 3 people in that movie.
Yeah, that one guy, the main guy, Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
Her. And then I don't even know who the third person is in that film.
Yeah, they're the main people.
Wow.
So, I was like, damn, because I was like, that's the thing that's a mind trick about that game is that whatever the category and the other people are kind of put you in a certain mindset. And it's hard to like break out of that mindset. Like I was thinking, like it was like in Mean Girls, and then I was like musicals like Mamma Mia, Les Mis, Into the Woods, none of which are 80%. So I was just like stuck. I didn't like even think of her like prestige-y. Like I couldn't think of it,
Right. Of course. Yeah, I totally know what you mean. You got to get Mank in there. I can't. I also, if you were telling me prestige, I love that they added an 80% plus because that kind of makes them not. You can't do that dog shit VOD stuff that we were talking about using. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then the right hand lane was won a Teen Choice Award.
Won a Teen Choice Award. It's wait, hold on. Let me think about it. Oh,
or
okay.
Like, I guess anything involved in the movie.
Like Spider-Man 1, that one Best Kiss, do you remember?
Yeah. Like The Notebook would be a good one. Like basically like any like rom-com or like action from a certain era. I just don't know when that show ended. Like what was the last Teen Choice Award, or do they still exist?
I don't know. I think that they had an issue with how many people they were sliming.
Isn't that Kids' Choice?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. The last time, I thought the last time they did it, there was too much slime. But you're probably
Jimmy one time, like 15 years ago, worked the Kids' Choice Awards.
Wow.
And he said that all the kids were so cold and shivering after the slime.
Oh, I say that every time. Imagine getting that slime. You watched that slime-centric documentary, right, about Nickelodeon? They said the slime would get everywhere, in their eyes, in their hair. The parents would have to go home and wash them for hours after they got slimed. Yeah.
Would you get slimed?
Would I allow it? I think I'd be one of those people where I thought I could get away with it. Like they were like, Riley Hamilton, here's your Teen Choice Award. And then I would try to run away or whatever. But I bet someone would get me with some slime right as I was walking off stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would love to have a Teen Choice Award, though. That's the surfboard, right?
Me too. Do you, I mean, it's not out of the question.
We're young.
Well, I love that we're talking about Mank and all this other stuff, but I wanted to talk to you. I mean, we are in the scary season. I want to just appropriately, talk to our little Turtle Cuties and Villa Rosa VIPs. Turtle Time honors October in terms of, scary shit. Or have you started the proceedings of getting, scary at all, or having anything scary happen in your life that's not sad or horrible?
I haven't watched anything yet. I was telling you earlier that my foster cat got all of his teeth except for his canines extracted yesterday. And so in true horror fashion, I do have a vial of cat teeth.
That's scary. And
cat teeth.
and he's a black cat, right?
It's true.
Some consider that kind of one of the spookiest cats you could have. Okay, so you're starting out good.
I'm like, okay, so that's a good like witchcraft ingredient, I think.
Absolutely. If they were making a brew or whatever, they would say plucked cat's teeth.
Fang. And I'm gonna wash them, and then maybe I'll do something fucked up and weird, like make a necklace or something.
Oh my God, that's so cool and scary as hell. So that's exactly what I wanted to start Turtle Time with. I've also been getting in this. Yeah, I've been getting in the spirit. I watched Christine. I already told you on our Patreon, which our Patreon was really good. Coming up on Monday, Amy and I talked about the history of Dracula a lot. We got really scary on there, so I do want to promote that Patreon coming up. But I already talked about this a little bit, the start of the scary season. But I watched Christine, and then for the first time yesterday, while Penny was sleeping on me, I can do whatever I want when she's sleeping. It's like you earn the right to do whatever the hell you want. It's kind of amazing while she sleeps. And I can do anything and no one can stop me. And I watched Pearl on Canopy. Oh. And I remember you and I talking about Maxine, and I was like, I didn't really like X. I stopped it halfway through, but I'm going to give this trilogy of horror movies a shot because I like Ty West. And I really liked Pearl. I had no
little jig.
I loved it. I thought it was like a good like Wizard of Oz type movie, or like a 1930s, whatever it was going for, that type of
Spanish
of aesthetic
flu era.
Yes, that totally. But then that horror bent of her. Spoiler alert! But if anybody's skip forward. But she likes to kill people. She gets really really mad and she kills
wants
people.
To be a star.
She wants to be a star, and I liked that Hollywood aspect of it too. So it definitely made me enticed to see Maxine. I
Okay.
really enjoyed it. I don't know if it was me, like I woke up at 8 a.m. and I was so tired, and I'm holding Penny and she's sleeping, and then I just was tolerating anything. But I thought it looked pretty, and I really liked Mia Goth's performance. I thought she kind of ripped it up. So I was proud of
Yeah.
that.
It was interesting. When did that come out? Was that like
2022.
okay?
I looked.
So
I
like
looked it
was
up.
it directly inspired by COVID, the idea of because like they're wearing the masks and like
I
going
think
to
so
the
too.
movies in the mask. I was like, that's like so interesting. Like that
I
hasn't I haven't seen that yet of
I
like
I
from the
think
past, you know?
I think Ty West exactly. I think Ty West said, "Let's set this when the flu is going on in 1918. It'll be so topical for people in the theaters wearing masks." I totally think he did that. It seemed now that where I watched it post COVID or whatever, I had to really think about that
Yeah.
connection that this would have been in the COVID era. But yeah, it
Yeah.
was good. I recommend Pearl, and I was too harsh on Ty West in that trilogy without having seen it at all.
There's this isn't a spoiler, but there's a little Easter egg when Maxine is doing her makeup in her dressing room. She has a big bowl of cocaine and it's in a like cookie jar type thing that's shaped like a goose. And
And
it's
the
like
goose
the
is like
pearl
what?
goose.
Wow, and that's a reference to the film I just watched, right? In Pearl.
Yeah. I think it's like kind of is there I don't remember if there's something in X like that too, but it's kind of like a little through line, I think.
Yeah, that's great. Does she do cocaine in that movie? Oh, I shouldn't. I should bleep this out. That's an instant
Don't
YouTube
let
red
Penny
flag.
see.
Oh God, I'm gonna have to
Well,
bleep that.
that's
But
like whenever I watch Diddy videos on TikTok, people use the word grape instead of
oh,
without
of
the
course,
G.
I know. Oh yeah, you can't. You can't write that ever.
And
I
then
w-
people have to say unalive and stuff like that.
Yeah, because you don't want to get fired. Well, I'm gonna bleep out what I said. But does she do that type of
Substance.
intoxicant substance in that film?
Yes.
Whoa. Okay, I'm very excited
The
to see
80s,
Maxine.
baby.
Wow. And is she okay? Last question about this trilogy that people are so over, but she's 20 in 1918, and then if this is in the 80s, is there no? Is she supernatural, or does it not matter what time period she's in?
Maxine is from X, and Mia Goth played in X. She played Pearl and Maxine.
Oh my God! I
Yeah,
don't know
kind of
that because
confusing.
I have to see X to see that she's those
She
two
plays like a
characters.
disgusting like crone.
Oh my God, I had no idea. I thought she was just a consistent character. Okay, well that's great. I'm enticed by this trilogy. I don't know why I turned off X halfway through. I'm gonna watch it, and that's the scary thing. That's the scary things I did. But you just thought of something, or you just made me think of. You said Diddy, and I wanted to tell you that Ashton Kutcher. I just saw he's fully not on the Fed's radar for going to
Okay.
those parties. He said he never went down the stairs to go where the lower bowels of what
Okay.
Diddy was doing happened.
Okay, good. Is there an official list? I've been hearing whispers, but I haven't seen.
I think that the FBI had to say that officially Ashton Kutcher wasn't on it. He wanted to get that news out there, but I don't think they've released fully who was fully entrenched in what Diddy was doing. But I just wanted we kind of we painted the same Ashton with the same brush. They still haven't exonerated him for that murder that you talked about, but this
I'm in deep shit.
But I swear, according to TMZ, he's officially. They said this guy he never went downstairs during the Diddy party. So I just
Okay,
wanted to say that.
good. I don't want that to be the case.
Yeah, and with last TMZ news, I'll say last
Yeah,
TMZ news. But because you brought up the Menendez boys, a lot of
yeah.
topical stuff is coming out. Kim Kardashian apparently went into the cell with them, and she said that these boys, well, they're like 50 now, they should be out of jail because whatever the circumstances were that they should be let loose out of
She's
prison.
my justice reform queen.
Yeah,
Love
did
her.
was it because they were okay to kill their parents because their parents were abusing them?
Yeah, I think it's like, you know, it because like they're guilty, they did it, like that's a fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, the circumstances affect the sentencing. I was talking to my dad about this, who's more of a harsh conservative, and he says that he thinks they are where they should be, but that their parents were probably bad. I think it's just like widely more accepted now that the parents were bad. Whereas
We
in
don't
the
know
90s,
that they're bad, though?
I mean, it's hard to like prove because it all happened behind closed doors. But now the conversation is that the Menudo storyline has opened up recently because the dad, I believe, managed Menudo, and now members of the boy band Menudo are saying that they were abused. So it's like, oh, like we should have listened to his sons because he was doing it all over town with these other kids too.
Who's Menudo?
It was the boy band that Ricky Martin was in.
Oh. Okay, so
In, like, the
there's
80s.
more. So there's more evidence that the Menendez dad was treating them the way they accused him of being. It's kind of like Gypsy Rose, right?
Yeah, it's like Gypsy, I think, is just lucky that she wasn't holding the knife. Like, I think,
Yeah.
at least she has that like line in the sand. But like, yeah, the Menendez brothers like fully like premeditated, bought shotguns and then like used
Oh
them.
my god. Oh my god.
This is the true crime corner.
Yeah, I think we're getting a little scary. Do you think were you surprised that Gypsy Rose didn't go viral again this summer?
Yeah, where has she been? Is she pregnant still? Or
I'm not sure. Was that the last thing? Because I remember you and I were we were pretty up to date with what was going on with Gypsy Rose around January, but I feel like she's been a little off the radar.
Maybe no news is good news.
Yeah, that's probably for the
I
best.
feel like we were hearing a little too much
Yeah.
for a
Did
little
you-
too long.
So did you finish the Ryan Murphy Menendez
I did.
series? Did it end well?
It was sad. Like, I think that the show overall was exploitative and not good. But I was telling people there's one good episode in the middle. It's shorter than all the rest. It's like 30 something minutes. Like, it's like, I think half the length or much shorter than the rest of the episodes. And it is in one take, like one shot of Eric Menendez talking to his lawyer about everything that happened to him. And so it's this like very good acting. Like it's just like a monologue, like for
Whoa.
like 30 minutes.
Whoa! Wow!
And it's like really good. And I'm like, that's the most like sympathetic episode. And the rest is like very like stylized and like goofy. So I would say that you could just watch it alone, I think. Just that one.
Oh wow! Okay, I might do that to get my Menendez brothers fix.
Otherwise, it's like they show schlong for no reason. They like show the brothers in the shower together just as like a vision that like is based on nothing. Like it, it's just like so out of pocket.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe I'll give that one episode a try. And then I have to ask you before we get into our Bravo news, we talked about this, I think, last week. You said you were going to watch Grotesquerie. And speaking of scary stuff, how was that?
I forgot that I had like 2 margaritas at home alone and watched it before I went out. And honestly, nothing much to report home about. I thought it was going to be more like goofy. Like that kind of a show is where I do go to Ryan Murphy to be more goofy and like ridiculous. And it's a little more grounded, which I guess is why it doesn't have the American Horror Story banner on it, because American Horror Story is usually a little more camp. But this is like almost more Seven ripoff or like Long Legs even. Like it's like Niecy Nash is a detective investigating a gruesome crime in which a family is murdered in sort of a Seven style way, like a ritualistic like setup. Like they're sitting around it's like happens in the first 5 minutes. It's like they're sitting around the table and it's like disgusting and like, artful in a way, I guess. So I'm kind of like, where does Travis Kelce come in? I don't know. He wasn't in the first 2 episodes that I saw.
He's a red herring, maybe. You see him, and you're like, "What the hell is?"
Maybe he's the killer.
Yeah, he could be. Travis Kelce's everywhere. Well, obviously, but I mean,
Salt Lake.
yeah, we get
Bobblehead?
Yeah, they had Travis Kelce fever back then. Whenever this was Salt Lake City was filmed. I was just going to ask before we get into Bravo News. I was going to say, how rich do you think Ryan Murphy is?
Oh, ungodly. I mean, he made that crazy deal with Netflix. It was like 50 million or more. Like,
Wow.
it might have been like 100 million. Him and Shonda Rhimes got like the biggest deals of all time from them.
Oh my God. Could you imagine?
No.
Oh man.
Just give me like 50,000.
That's what I was trying to say. Like Ryan Murphy.
I could milk that for like 4 years.
Ryan Murphy. You like Bravo. Maybe you listen to Bravo podcasts. If you're listening to this, please give us just 50,000 each. Amy and I will live on that for so long. We'll be so happy. So that's my pitch.
We already talked about it. I don't remember if it was Patreon or regular, that rom-com show with Adam Brody and
that was
Kristen Bell.
Patreon. That was a piping hot, very riotous conversation about that thing you just said.
Nobody Wants This, I think it's called. But Kristen Bell plays a podcaster, and her work life storyline is that her and her sister are being pursued to sell their podcast to a big network, and so she has this like big goal to cash out and make it in the big leagues. And I'm like, Turtle Time when?
That is so us. Wait, so they are getting courted by all the heavy hitters?
Yeah.
The Ringer. What's the other ones that we love? Headgum. What's
iHeart.
iHeart. These
Dear
heavy hitters are
Media.
Spotify, obviously, the holy
Nick
grail, the cash.
Viall.
Nick Viall's network. I would love to be on there. What else? Oh yeah. We said a lot of them.
Oh my God. Speaking of, I mean, we'll get into it, but RHONY, yet again, will check the box on every single premiere we watch for the rest of our lives, that there will be something someone said on a podcast.
Oh, right. Wait. Let me think about this. RHONY, what did somebody say in a podcast
Jeff
on?
Lewis.
Oh, of course. Oh my gosh,
That might be serious radio, but same shit.
No. I would totally include that. I completely forgot that was a part of it. Okay, well, good. I love that. Absolutely. Can I tell you some
spooky?
Speaking of scary stuff, do you want me to start with that first news item we talked about? Well, okay, so the internet was aflame with news. I saw this news. It was coming in as hot as hell. It was like the newspapers in what's that movie called? Megalopolis, where they fly at the screen. It goes, Jax gives away full legal and physical custody for his son Cruz right now, immediately, effective immediately. And we got this news. We were talking about it, and I have to say, I did not believe this. I believed that it happened, but I knew that there must be more to this story. I did not think Jax Taylor was actually capable of just saying, Brittany, do as thou wilt with my son, and you can choose everything. I just knew it didn't seem right. And then within, I would say, 24 hours, Jax said, oops. His management or whatever, they said, oops, Jax filled out the form completely wrong. And then Brittany even said, Jax must have had a hard time filling out the paperwork, because then I looked at the contract. Did you see it? The legal document? It was, I mean, like, because he didn't use lawyers, I guess, and maybe he was distracted listening to music or something, but he did put, the first one makes no sense because it says, why are you dissolving this marriage? And he said, we were never legally married. I don't know why he clicked that box, because that one you can kind of just keep reading and you see the truth. I think he might have thought, like, we're no longer married now. Like, our date of separation was September 26th. So we're not married, but it said we're never married. So Jax, you should have looked at that one a little more. But then the physical and legal custody one, I saw it, and I think it said the let me see the language. Yeah. It said the practitioner / pursuant. What was the P word that they used? Child support. I don't remember, but it was legal jargon, I thought. And it just said Brittany, that means Brittany gets full legal and physical. Yeah, the petitioner gets it. And I totally understand. If you're not a lawyer, I don't know why you would just, check that off. But I get why you'd be confused not knowing that Brittany is potentially the petitioner because she filed the divorce proceedings.
Right.
So I give Jax a little bit of an out on that one. But it's a major thing to get wrong.
I loved, I'm pulling it up, the People magazine, Jax's rep said, while Jax made errors in filling out forms that are usually done by a trained legal professional, those errors will be amended without delay.
Yeah. So
Like,
it's just...
if anyone ever needed legal counsel, it's him. Like, he just said on the episode we watched that he would put chapstick on his Scantron tests because he doesn't even know how to take a standardized test. Like,
Yeah.
let someone else read that shit.
I know. It's almost, to me, I was almost like, I could read some of this, but no, because it says contends. It says like
You're like literally the section about your child support, he checked a box indicating other.
yeah.
Like, what
yeah.
are you even talking about? This is like such serious stuff.
Yeah. But then, they're going to, I think you're allowed to, you have 48 hours to erase, if you did it in pencil or whatever, you can erase that part. But but then he said, we've got this worked out. I never thought that Brittany was trying to take full custody of Cruz and he was relenting. He said that we agreed on their terms or whatever. So I'm sure it's amicable and good because I know everything Brittany has said about Jax, despite her saying he's the shittiest husband in the world, she always talks about what a wonderful dad he is to Cruz. So I figured that it wasn't that bad between them, that she was taking full custody.
Yeah, I saw like Lance Bass chimed in where he was like, it's legal. I signed the forms. I was there. And then Sherry Cartwright or whatever chimed in and was like, they're legally married. And I'm like, why is this like playing out on Instagram? It's like, it'll, whatever the legality of it is, it will play out. Like,
yeah, I didn't see that Sherry did that. She did that on Instagram too?
Yeah, I saw one of those roundups. But yeah, I'm enjoying every second of it. Our friend sent us another Joe Exotic comment. Jax posted the other day, he got a new like Spawn Con mattress. And he took very funny modeling type photos on the mattress. And Joe Exotic commented, way better than the shit I sleep on.
You sent me that, and I love it. I had to remember who Joe Exotic was again, but then every time I remember him, I go, wow, that is so fun that he absolutely loves Jax's content. And you have to imagine that what Jax is sleeping on is much better than, because he's in prison, right?
Yeah, he's by way of the Menendez brothers.
What did he do? What did he do wrong?
I think he did he kill someone? I just love the slander. There's definitely a money thing, like tax evasion, and then
I just love it. It's like knowing nothing. We're like, he killed someone. It's like allegedly. No, I don't remember Tiger King. I told you.
Big thing.
I always say it. I say I watched it once. I said I watched during COVID. I said I didn't think this was that good, and then I never thought about it again. I just remember I thought Carol Baskin.
Yeah, killed her husband. Whacked him.
And yeah, exactly. So I just don't. I'm glad that Joe still loves Jax, and I was thinking maybe it's a case where Kim Kardashian would want to look into what the hell is going on with Joe Exotic as well. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember what his case is.
To be careful right now because people are trying to wrap her up with Diddy for, in my opinion, no good reason.
They think I could never imagine. I don't even know her very well, but I can't. I do not. When Diddy said come down here, I do not imagine Kim descending that staircase down.
She doesn't even. She only recently started after turning 40, even drinking for fun. She does. I'm like, I know Kim. She's my girl, and she doesn't really get into much.
Yeah,
hoopla.
That's my assessment of her as well, even as a casual viewer of what she's up to. I finally saw the Chud tunnels too, by the way, that he had.
Yeah, I'm really running into seeing the corners of the conspiracy internet, and I'm a little bit alarmed.
Whoa! So tell me, just because this is our scariest episode of Turtle Time, what's the deepest? Okay.
The problem is that he did really horrible stuff for a fact. That happened.
Well, I know one thing he absolutely horribly did in my book that made me write him off forever, but
Well,
But
yeah, just like straight up abuse, but then I mean, he did like countless horrible things, but now it's getting intermingled because people have been waiting for their whole lives for Hollywood to be taken down and the cabal and the Pizzagate and whatever.
I see.
That now they're like, well, like here we go. Like they're talking Illuminati, they're talking Chud tunnels, they're talking like sacrifice, they're talking like
I see.
Barack Obama, Oprah, like
I didn't.
it's just all lumped in, and I'm like, can you relax?
Yeah, say no. Yeah, I totally get it. It became QAnon level for that type of activity used to justify the predatory behavior of Hollywood in general.
Yeah, it's like he could just, go to jail for his literal crimes. It's like, but like, that's the thing. I'm like, how bad was it? Because like, I think it was worse than you could imagine, which like does verge on like conspiracy level, because it is a conspiracy in the sense that he definitely paid off like probably cops, lawyers, elected officials. Like he got away with it. Yeah, Costco for that long by like blackmailing and paying people. So like that is the definition of a conspiracy.
Racketeering. You said it.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. You said it. Well, good. Well, we'll figure out we'll get to the bottom of that case for sure. That was
Kathy Griffin has been posting on TikTok, and I'm an old-timey fan of hers, and she was trying to reverse engineer what does well on TikTok.
Oh.
So she did like a mukbang eating a tuna melt and talking about Diddy. And I love tuna melts, and so I sent it to all my friends, and I was like, doesn't this just feel like getting lunch with me? Like I'm eating a tuna melt and talking about Diddy.
Wow. What's mukbang again? When you eat something?
Yeah, like on camera.
Okay. Wow.
It's like the crawfish broil.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's why it was reminding me of Bethany, like that she was thinking about.
I just remembered. I didn't put two and two together till right now. There's a scene in The Substance where Dennis Quaid, he's like portrayed as like a disgusting, horrible person the whole time. And they always have him in like a fisheye lens. Like he's always like in your face and just like gross. There's a scene where Demi Moore gets lunch with him and he's just eating like peel and eat shrimp, and they make it so foul, like every like sound and like the whatever you call that, like the pieces and like a pile, and he's like dipping it and like slurping it, and it's just like really sick. And I'm like, it's giving the Bethany Hotel video.
Wow. How does it really resemble that? Does he have the bib and he's in the dark?
Yeah, did he have a bib? He might have. But
wow.
Yeah, I just realized that could be a funny post.
Oh, good. All right, well, let's use it. That's offensive, I think, to shrimp heads.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Bad portrayal.
I think so too. Well, I don't know if this is the last news item, but one other news item I wanted to share with you. I don't think you saw it. I sent it to you, but disrespectfully, the podcast between Katie and Dana had a full-blown viral moment that I absolutely loved. It came on my TikTok while I was scrolling. Yeah. I got 3 TikToks served to me that were the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. And then this was the third one. And I was like, 3 for 3 on TikTok? What the hell? And it was Stassi on Katie and Dana's podcast. And I want to shout it out. I don't listen regularly, but this was a great clip. Stassi was on it. And someone asked the origin of Stassi and Katie, like when they first met or how they first met. And for you and I, like who talk about Vanderpump Rules all the time, it's just like so wild to me that like questions can still be new.
Yeah.
Like I don't know the specifics of this, and the specifics were that they started at SUR at the exact same time, like before the reality show. They did training together or whatever, and then Stassi knew Katie as the girl that just started who was on a modeling job and fell off a roof. And she thought that it was like a silly story, and she was kind of like making fun of her because, as was Stassi's demeanor back then, like kind of joking around, being mean-spirited or whatever. She didn't know the extent to how bad it was. Only until Katie came with her jaw wired shut did she see the extent of how horrible it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, then they talked about, the fun part of this interview was that they talked about how the Peter era, where Katie dated Peter or was interested in Peter. He was the manager. I don't know if he was the assistant manager back then or whatever. She was interested in him, and Peter ghosted Katie for Stassi, and Stassi and Peter dated for a couple months or whatever. But then Peter, I think, ended things with Stassi, but then both of them, for Peter's birthday, they planned him a huge Avatar-themed birthday for Peter's birthday after they both had stopped dating him because they still liked Peter so much. And they met each other planning an Avatar-themed birthday for Peter. And I was just like,
God.
this
Where
is
are the
like...
pics?
that's what I said. Dana, when she listens to this, this is not a judgmental comment, but Dana had no questions, no follow-up questions. I would have asked so many questions.
Yeah.
I would want photos. I would want to know who dressed up in character as Avatar creatures, who was Jake Sully, if they surprised Peter with all of them dressed up like Na'vi people.
Yeah.
I just thought it was so interesting that of Vanderpump Rules, this thing that we love, that they also had this Avatar connection in there. I just thought it was a beautiful origin story. I couldn't believe
they've
it.
never flashed back a photo of that.
I have to see it. Who dressed up? Like,
it's like what Sierra did at Summer House.
I was thinking that we only got one Avatar and Bravo crossover in history, which I'm really surprised by, and it was Sierra when she did that Summer House alien party, I think.
Oh my gosh, the Avatar makeup always hits like that. Remember when Ben Stiller did that at the Oscars when the Oscars were still fun?
You know what? I never saw that. He dressed up like Avatar.
He came out and it was like deadpan, like. I forget what the setup was, but it was funny.
Oh, good. Well, good. That might be something that I look at after Turtle Time. Is Ben Stiller dressed up like a Na'vi?
I also saw a rumor mill that the Oscars are eyeing. I don't want to say it.
Oh, can I guess?
Yeah.
I think I saw it.
Okay.
It's a duo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! It's on the tip of my tongue, but you'll just
best case scenario. If it was only one of them for me.
Oh my gosh. Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell.
Oh my God, that would be horrible.
Who knows? I forgot. I saw the news, but I completely forgot who it was.
Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds.
That's what it was. Deadpool and Wolverine. Oh my God. Okay.
Hugh Jackman. I'm sure I've brought it up more than once here because it's my favorite YouTube video to watch 10 times a year. If you have ever had a drink with me, it's been put on YouTube. I watch it constantly. I know all the words. Hugh Jackman, 2009, I think. I should know that. Mm-hmm. Whatever year Slumdog Millionaire and Benjamin Button came out. Best Oscar intro performance of all time, in my opinion. Really good. What the Oscars should be.
What did he do?
He performed an entire, like, it's like 10 minutes. It was during the like recession. So it was like, I guess maybe it was 08, 09. So the joke was that they like didn't have budget, so it's kind of like everything's made off cardboard and like as if he had to like put it together himself, and it's like an entirely original number about the nominated movies. So it's like Slumdog Millionaire, Frost Nixon, The Reader, Benjamin Button, The Wrestler.
Rough year.
Yeah, right.
Rough year. Benjamin Button, The Reader. What were the other ones?
I guess, well, the funny joke is that...
Frost Nixon?
I remember liking Frost Nixon.
Okay.
And that's the reason that Anne Hathaway then got to host, because she does a number with him about Frost Nixon. And he does a little scene for, Dark Knight. Was that year too? He does like each movie's honored, and then it's like themed to the movie, and then he gets to The Reader and everyone's dressed like a robot, and then his song goes like, The Reader, I didn't see the reader.
Really? It ends with a full joke?
Like he's like, I didn't even see that.
Wow. And it's him kind of imagining what maybe The Reader was about, or winging it. Wow. Okay.
I tried to see The Reader, but there was a line of all the people watching Iron Man a second time.
Wow. A little bit of casting shade upon The Reader, right? Yeah. Everyone was too busy wanting to see Iron Man.
But everyone loved it.
Good. Well, you know what? To be contrary to you, I think if you loved Hugh Jackman, and I love him too. I think Ryan Reynolds, we've talked about him before. I know he's responsible for some horrible things going on in the entertainment industry, but I believe he has the charisma to get us through a 3-hour broadcast of the Oscars, and they'll utilize him well, I have to say.
Their humor level is just like, I find upsetting.
Whose?
Together.
Because
just like whatever their inside joke is, I don't like it.
All right.
I don't want it.
Okay, well, you know what? The last thing I want to do is defend Ryan Reynolds here. I'll just say if they end up doing that, I could imagine it being okay because Ryan Reynolds won't be in the Deadpool suit. Deadpool has very crass, crude, horrible meta humor.
It is Disney, though.
What is?
Like ABC, Marvel.
They'll get Jimmy Kimmel in there in some capacity, right?
Yeah, he's always the default, and I always think he's fine. He's a good neutral, but
yeah.
Anywho.
Well, great. Great. That was a great segment.
There's nothing to say, but we did want to point out that Stassi does appear have to begun filming her show, so it's real. She showed cameras in her house.
Yes. Yep. I think I was kind of, it's kind of like I'll believe it when I see it a little bit. We only read the news item, but the fact that there is going to be a fully Stassi-led reality show is a huge deal on Hulu. And I'm excited for her. She's at the, she's killing it right now. You could say what you will about her daggered book sales, but that book is through the roof on New York Times, no matter how many bulk purchases there are. And she's getting her own reality show. It's like, she came back full circle, very powerful. I'm proud of her. And then anything else to say before I say what else I'm proud of?
Go ahead.
Olivia Flowers. Amy sent this update from People magazine. Olivia Flowers got engaged to a man named Alex Williams. I want to say congratulations. That's a wonderful thing. She's not going to be on Southern Charm. Apparently.
I guess the show made the right choice then, because if she wasn't single, it wouldn't be very fun.
Why? I don't agree with that. She could be in a relationship and what if Alex Williams was a shining star?
Doesn't she not even live there?
I think maybe that was too much. Maybe if she lived in Texas or whatever and she was going to only live in town. But I thought Olivia Flowers on Sheena's podcast said, I live there enough. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like they wanted to, I feel like she got a little too powerful and people might have cared too much about her, and they used those things that were going on in her life as an excuse. It was like, you're not like, I don't know. The fact that they wrote her off after her being the most consequential cast member that season, arguably, I'm still surprised by that. Yeah. But I'm glad that I'm ultimately glad that they made that decision, and it doesn't matter because her life, that's a great thing, and she loves this person, and he proposed to her, and it's really sweet. It seems like a very good ending.
Sweet revenge that, she dated someone for a year and he locked it down. She didn't have to play games. But I didn't read the article, but it looked like maybe she was proposed to in New York. Was that New York?
I think it was, but, okay. I also had to skim that article. But congratulations, Olivia Flowers. Amy and I are huge fans, and we'll be thinking of you.
I also wanted to say that I know we were shouting out Bethany's organization, Be Strong, the other day for all of the horrible hurricane disaster, everything that's happening right now. I did see that Shep is also trying to put his best foot forward, and he's selling like T-shirts. I didn't read the fine print. I'm hoping that all of it goes to charity, because I'm like, do you even need to include the T-shirt part? Can't you just like fundraise? But I was glad to see that he was trying to help.
Yeah, it was his home that they went in. I can't check, but you remember when they went to that mountain home and he was drinking milk out of the gallon?
Yeah,
when he was sick?
Think he had to like evacuate from there. He said.
All right, well that's good. Everybody should be thinking of them now, and we should be donating. If we can, if you can spare it to charity. Well, good. Did we cover everything in the world that you and I were so happy and eager to talk about?
Yeah, I think so. We're covering 3 shows tonight, so I think we should just mosey through.
Okay. And did you want to take a little quick certified turtle piss break, or do you want to?
I don't hear Norman the cat making any ruckus, so I'm just going to let him snooze, and I'll talk about RHONY.
Okay. Good. Great. So good. Okay, so first question I have. So you and I both watched this. You told me after we recorded our Patreon episode on Wednesday, you go, I'm about to go watch RHONY. And I go, what the hell are you talking about? I go, what? And I was like, oh my God, October 1st, this new season of RHONY, season 15, premiered. And I was like, oh my God, I was absolutely stunned that RHONY was back in our lives. And I want to say up front, I am giving this the full benefit of the doubt. You and I feel like we gave RHONY season 14 maybe a D or a C minus the entire run of season 14. We were pretty down on it, but we gave we gave it credit whenever it sparked joy within us. But overall, we thought it was a pretty shitty season. Am I accurately reflecting on that? But this season I'm ready because I noticed I watched Miami very quickly during Penny's early days, and the first seasons of Housewives franchises, when the cast don't organically know each other, it is very stilted and shitty, and they have no real relationships with each other. And the reason these shows work so well is that on OC and Beverly Hills, or all of them where the cast have been there for 10 years or so, they have intricate dynamics with each other, and we've watched them grow apart, grow with each other. We know their foibles, we know their past. So sometimes casts need to grow. So I'm feeling like maybe RHONY could benefit from the fact that they are now an established cast. But this episode gave me no hope that was the case. And if anything, I don't think that they tried to spend any time with each other in the off season and actually develop real friendships, because they kept talking again about this one horrible party that they went to at Jenna's house where all of this conflict happened in the entire 6 months or a year. That they were off. So you guys didn't hang out in the off season. Nothing happened. You went to one party and Jenna and Aaron hung out one time, and then all this stuff. You're squeezing all of the juice out of those two interactions to make us think that this is a dynamic friend group that has so much shit going on, and this is the fallout from it, which I don't believe.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, they reference Cheesegate from last year and Aaron is like, I'm afraid it's happening again. And I'm like, it is.
Yes, it totally is. It totally is. I saw a great TikTok that I wish I would have thought of this. It was amazing. I don't know who the person was, but they should have a lot of credit. They said, I don't want any more fights on RHONY that are arguing about semantics, which is totally what Cheesegate was, and that's what this poor comment about Jenna is. It's I didn't say you're poor. I meant it as a joke. And it's no, you said it seriously. It's on RHONY, the old classic RHONY, they wouldn't ever fight about 3 words that someone got wrong. They'd be fighting about the most epic shit you've ever seen in your life that would ruin
and it's
friendships.
Also the power dynamic. It's Erin says, she's like, Jenna has a $10 million apartment and a $5 million vacation house. She's obviously not poor. And I'm like, yeah, if anything, Jenna's the richest of them all. Yeah. So it's not juicy, because if they said that about Brynn or something, I'd be like, now we're talking. What's her deal? Let's rip that shit up. But
also, Jenna doesn't really care, so it really has no weight. She really has to fight with Brynn about what she said about Jenna, because Jenna kind of just takes whatever Aaron said. But then also, I don't doubt that Aaron did say that in a shitty way. She would but who cares? It really doesn't matter. I don't really care at all how this story shakes out, because it's not interesting at all. So before we get into the details, though, overall, this is the premiere of a huge franchise. It's back. It took a long time for it to come back. How did you feel?
The ratings?
Dog
Series
shit.
Low.
Yeah, I watched the thing and it just had the toilet flush sound. But what?
I mean,
in their
TV
defense,
is just headed that way in general. But
no, in their defense,
and
the debate was scheduled at the same time, so that's not good. And they couldn't have planned that. They can't plan around the debate. And also, someone they said, hey, Salt Lake City's numbers are dog shit too. They're in the 300,000s. I'm like, okay. I mean, I don't know how Salt Lake City's
dying, but
that's
for another day. Honestly, I watched it twice.
Me too.
Because I watched it organically and then with notes, and it has most all the same issues I had the first time. My main takeaway is I don't think their humor is there.
No.
And whenever they try to joke, it's horrific and they're just
Yeah.
not funny. None of them are funny.
Yeah, an example of that really quick is when Jenna goes, someone told me I'm dressed like a vagina. And then you can see Aaron let out this huge, big, fake laugh with no noise emitting from it, and it's like they're so I don't want to say desperate, but they really want humorous moments to happen, and they're just not there from this cast.
I can immediately think of 3 examples. That's one.
Wow.
In Aaron, Becky Minkoff, I'm gonna call her Becky. I think it's more
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Becky and Uba get lunch, and they're all talking about how like being a woman sucks. Like your boobs get all messed up after you have kids, and like it's hard. And then Uba's like, "Should we put on a mustache and like go around town?" And then Aaron's like, "And fuck each other." And I was like, "What are you even any of you saying? Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean?"
Yeah. What are you talking about? I thought the same thing. I just had no reaction to it because it wasn't funny at all, and I thought it also showed the lack of real friendship here, like that they don't truly know each other. Becky, did you say Becky?
Yeah, Becky.
Becky. Rebecca. She said that one thing. She was like, "I have to fold up my breasts because my nipples are so long." And I was like, "Okay, that was an okay humorous anecdote," but I think Aaron laughed too hard at that. She was like, "So,"
I know, she's like so outrageous.
Yeah.
And then Jenna made an Ozempic joke that sucked.
Yeah. Right. It was to Raquel.
Yeah,
she goes,
like, I'm gonna I can't wait for you to like scoop me up in your arms or something like that. And Jenna was like, only if you're on Ozempic. And it's like she's like a model, like she's like statuesque and like thin as a needle. And she was like, why would I do that? I'm skinny already. Like, what do you
goes,
mean?
what the hell are you talking about? I would be 20 pounds. Yeah, Jenna just like lets it flop there.
Like,
okay.
She got like a list of like topical joke concepts, and she's like, Ozempic is hot right now.
Right. Ozempic. I was trying to think of what else would be topical. I was going to say Brat Summer, but they wouldn't have seen that. Trump. Tim Walz, but I think it's a little too early. This might have been Baby Four Seasons era, right? Wasn't that in February?
Yeah, that would have been better.
You're not dressed up like Baby Four Seasons over there, are you, Raquel? That would have been kind of topical. So you think you said this, that what you just said is true, and it's something I didn't think about. I kind of just take it for granted that none of them are funny, but you're right. You're right. That's a huge deal. It's not a funny franchise. None of let's I don't want to do this too much, but I think
Salt Lake is funny.
Yes. That's why I watched RHONY and then I watched Salt Lake. And when Angie K was talking to Sean about the Brow Girl, I breathed a big sigh of relief. I was like, I like Angie K.
Yeah.
I like Sean. Yeah. When she was being silly, put her.
She was like,
so it's I loved it. So it's a cat. It's a little
Heather's
bit of
funny.
Yeah.
And then some of them are funny without like trying to be funny.
Do you think Bronwyn flew the coop on New York, and she could have been on New York, but then they said we're filled up over here, and so she had to go in Salt Lake because Bronwyn.
Quite honestly,
that's what I was just thinking. I like Bronwyn on Salt Lake City. I'm fine with her, but she would have been good on New York. She would have been funnier than.
And she's rich.
So I would say Jessel. Yeah, she's rich. Jessel is the maybe, even though she's not a 10 out of 10 funny, I think she has the best sense of humor. Aaron is not funny. Jenna, unfortunately, I'm so sorry. This is so mean. I mean. This is mean, right?
They are paid big dollars to entertain us.
Not my sense, not the sense of humor that registers on the laugh scale for me.
Skills.
Yeah. Sigh. Uba might be in the middle. She knows.
Doesn't really make sense. Like I never know what she's trying to say. I'm like, what?
And then who was else? Oh, and then Bryn is
unfortunately, she's funny.
Yeah, unfortunately, Bryn had a lot of groaners this episode. I was like, oh man, Bryn is back majorly. Okay, that is a huge thing that you just. I'm glad we talked about this because I didn't even notice that was what was missing. But yeah, there's not many funny moments. I already mentioned that I think that this cast doesn't know each other still, and they didn't spend any time trying to get to know each other. And overall, I just thought this episode was just pretty boring. And I didn't enjoy watching it. The only scenes that really stood out to me, I did like Jessel and Pavitt going into Chinatown, and Pavitt sort of doing a little bit of his food
He's
influencer
funny.
stuff. Yeah, I like Pavitt. I always loved Jessel and Pavitt. I think they're the shining stars of this franchise. I liked her going on the subway.
Mhm.
I like that everyone had to rally around Jessel now because she's no longer the punching bag. Because if I remember correctly in season 14, everyone thought that Jessel was going to be the lame duck that they could all make fun of, Jenna and Jessel. And then
Mhm.
those are arguably the two have the best fan reactions, Jessel for sure. So I like that Sai now has to apologize to Jessel. It seems like everyone is like honoring Jessel this season, which
Yeah.
I do like.
Yeah. I'm a little eye roll about like I guess they're trying to say like Jessel's a city girl and like doesn't want to do the nitty gritty or whatever, but I'm like it's a little like dumb to me that she's like, I've only taken the subway twice, which I believe is true. I mean, she read her Uber receipts were like $1,000, but like there's something just kind of like annoying about the
Yeah.
persona of being like, ooh, like what are all these like, what is this shithole Chinese restaurant? Like it's like
I
it's a
I
little
agree.
much.
I agree. I don't give it its full. I don't think it was a slam dunk, but it provided me more joy than almost anything else in this episode. I don't think you can
Yes.
film on the subway in New York.
Oh, was that? I thought you can. No, I thought you can do
Oh,
whatever you want in New York.
wow. The city that never
You
sleeps?
don't need releases
Uh,
in New York.
oh no, you need releases.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I worked on the Eric Andre show. You had to sign 100,000 releases for
Ah,
every single person involved. But the subway, the only reason I say that I don't think they can film on is because I remember when Black Swan came out, Darren Aronofsky talked about having to steal a scene on the subway because you're just technically not allowed to film there. But maybe they've changed that. I mean, when you
interesting.
think about it, if you look in your mind's eye and think about scenes in New York subway, like, can you think of any iconic scenes on the?
Well, I do. I feel like they do a pretty good job mimicking it, so you never know if it's real or not. You know?
Yeah, I think it was iPhone footage.
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to note that.
Yeah, I guess it's just because she's not so glamorous and rich that the fish out of water thing really works. Whereas if it was like Miss Pat on, Southern Charm or something, where you're like, she's like, dear heavens, like,
Carol's
why am
buns.
I on the? Yeah, exactly. But I'm like, you fucking live in New York. You're like in your 30s. Like,
Yeah,
get a grip.
yeah, yeah. It was a little. It was a little. Yeah, the fish out of water is a little bit like, what is Pavitt doing? I also didn't like when she was making fun of him for being a food influencer because after that season, Pavitt is the only one I followed on Instagram, and I loved his.
I know. It's like I want to go to Carol's Buns.
I loved his recap of him going to Vietnam for that sandwich. He did the best travelogue I've ever seen. It was
I
like
know. I loved
so
it.
well done. Yeah, yeah. So don't make fun of Pavitt. But yeah, I agree. I didn't truly fully love that. It just I think I liked that New York City was more essential to that. I got a side of New York City, which this franchise is based in New York City, than any other scene so far.
Yeah,
This
that's
premiere, I
true.
liked seeing that Carol's Buns or Bun, and
Yeah.
then Chinatown and all that kind of stuff.
We also, I don't know if it's even worth mentioning, but like the fact that it opened up at the the promo shoot.
Yeah.
It said like June 25th, 2024, 5 days after filming ended, and there's like supposed chaos. Uba's like fighting with the producer. Apparently, she's feuding with Bryn, I think, and
Yeah.
they're trying to get us hyped for that. And I'm like, the clips they showed of whatever vacation house they were in, I'm like, if I'm to use my memory from last season, the fights that were at that level last year were so dumb
Yeah.
that like you're not going to get me hype
No.
about whatever they're so pissed at each other about because it's probably over something so dumb.
Yeah. I felt like it was clickbait.
Yeah.
I felt like it was Bravo clickbait because they love, like, Salt Lake City had these iconic fourth wall breaks that we were seeing where Heather was pushing the cameraman down a flight of stairs, while she was on a phone call that you couldn't hear. I felt like they were just like, "Ooh, Bren and Uber were sort of mad at each other. Let's make this the most enticing thing so people will watch the whole season." But it didn't seem that enticing to me at all.
No.
And especially knowing the kind of shit that they fight about, like you just said, from season 14 that would warrant this.
Yeah, it's probably all about that like dress barn comment. That's
Oh.
probably what it is.
Oh, what was that?
Bryn at one point is like going head to head with Uba and is like, "You're not Naomi, you're not Giselle," and Uba's like, "Naomi wishes, Giselle wishes," and then Bryn goes, "You model for Dress Barn."
Oh my God. What's
But
wrong with
then,
Dress Barn?
I mean, it's just like not glamorous, I guess. But Uba, I think, then clapped back online or somewhere that she makes like so much money modeling for Dress Barn. So,
Good.
but I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
okay.
Okay, so probably Dress Barn. Well, this was my next question for you. Thoughts on these new cast members? So RHONY had to get two new cast members in
Yeah.
addition to all of the cast members coming back. How did you feel about Raquel and Becky Minkoff coming into the fold?
Yeah. I like Raquel. Like, I'm intrigued because she's beautiful and fashionable. And I feel like a more, I don't know, enticing, like lesbian woman than Jenna Lyons is to me. Like, she's more, I guess, comfortable or open with that storyline, whereas I feel like Jenna is still very murky there. So I feel like whether or not she brings Jenna out of her shell in that regard or not, I'm like, well, at least I'm just going to pay attention to her then. She seems more fun.
Yeah.
And like the motorcycle and like I don't know. I was like, I was intrigued. I don't know how spicy she'll get. She seems kind of like respectable and like normal, but she seems like when they all met up at that bar, I was like, okay, like this does feel like Sex in the City-esque. Like everyone is very like stylish. Like it had that little cachet to it, and I feel like she adds to that. Like she's like, if you saw her walking down the street, you'd be like, who is that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And I thought of this. She has that Sex and the City connection. She does. She is the art. What she does.
Whatever that means.
She does. She. I think she's the person who puts art in shows, like set decorator, but maybe more
Yeah,
art focused.
And just like that, since Charlotte is like works at a gallery and one of the newer characters, they do kind of like specifically make art part of the storyline, so they would need to like source actual artists because they talk about them specifically. So she must be like sort of like a, what do you call that, like a consultant. I think she said that.
Yeah,
That's what
like
she does. Yeah.
like make sure that like let's say someone is like, we've got the sexiest art here, and then it's a Norman Rockwell. Right?
I want, it's like a boy who dropped his ice cream cone and like a dog is licking it and the boy's like, "Aw."
And people are like, who the hell did the art stuff on this show? It doesn't match at all. Yeah.
I
So
love Norman Rockwell. They have it at this diner I always go to with my parents called Spires. They have like a million Norman Rockwells, and I love just the Americana storytelling.
yeah,
happening.
yeah. I really only know the one, the classic
What's the
one.
one you're thinking of?
The one that you and I are going to dress up as Halloween. Pitchfork guy, somber expression. That's Norman Rockwell, right?
Are you thinking of the American Gothic?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that not? Hold on. I can't look this
That's
up.
different.
Oh, it is. Okay. Sorry. What were you thinking of?
Norman Rockwell. What's the most famous Norman Rockwell? Like, it's always just like something so wholesome. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to spend too much time looking up what I was thinking of.
doesn't Lana Del Rey? We talked about her last time.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
she have an
Yeah.
album called that?
Yes, she does. Norman fucking Rockwell, I believe it is. Oh, yes, this is beautiful art. Yep, this is
Oh my
not
God,
who I was
this
thinking
is
of.
Norman Rockwell. This what has become a meme.
Yes,
It's the,
yes, I just saw that too.
Abe Lincoln standing up in the
It's like,
pews or
it's when
whatever.
someone says like, I think this is good, and they say like an innocuous statement. Okay, so
Anyways.
okay, I agree completely with Raquel. I think exactly what you said. I think that I'm worried that maybe she's going to be reserved because she's not the type of person that wants to get in the mess and fighting, and she might be the audience surrogate, which I don't think this show needs necessarily. But she was entertaining and funny, and I liked her home life and everything. So jury's still out, but I was happy with this addition. I think she already bumps up some of the cast member. I mean, like, she would already skyrocket sort of to me in terms of maybe knocking out some of the other cast members. And then
Yeah.
and
Becky
then
didn't say shit.
Yeah, Becky, and I wanted to say this at the start of the conversation. Becky Minkoff is not included as a full-time cast member in the credits.
Yeah, I didn't realize until watching it that Raquel had the apple and that Becky didn't. I didn't know that.
So that's not good because sometimes they save the full-time cast members for maybe 3 episodes in when they actually came into the group. But if Becky Minkoff was in the first episode and she's in every scene, I think that means that this might fizzle out and they weren't happy with her overall. And I noticed that Andy Cohen only complimented Raquel on Watch What Happens Live and didn't mention Becky Minkoff at all. And we heard that thing about the storyline that she wanted to have like fake fighting with Jenna Lyons.
Right.
And she didn't say a lot. She didn't really try to.
Seemed like shy.
Yeah.
And then I did also want to mention that when Brynn goes furniture shopping with Jessel and Jenna, I was like, when Jenna called out the fact that she had BO, was that again her trying to be funny? Like, why would she say that?
Great question. I know that if I was on camera and I had BO, the last thing I would want to say is tell
visual medium
the audience. We always say this. We say, unless you paint stink lines over someone, I don't want to know who smells on camera because we don't have to smell them. I think it was just Jenna saying the reality of the situation. She knew she stank to high heaven and she had to say something. And then that caused Brynn and Jessel to want to take big whiffs of her BO. But it didn't make sense to me why she would want to bring attention to it. I don't understand.
And then Brynn was like, oh my God, you're a person. And then in her confessional, she goes, it's like finding out that God shits. And I'm like, you already know her. Like, you've spent like a year with her. Like, what do you mean?
She's trying to cast subtle shade that like we don't know the true Jenna and that she's too high and mighty for them or whatever, because that was a recurring theme last season. So Brynn is like kind of doing a callback to that, which I don't know. I don't see Jenna that way. I just see Jenna as someone who, I don't know, doesn't enjoy being on this show, but I don't know. I mean, I think maybe she's gotten a little better and she enjoys it.
And she was on Watch What Happens, and it was still like pretty boring. Like, even in that environment. And then, okay, so this is where I guess one of the main storylines is the Jeff Lewis thing. And, Brynn is pissed off about it, but they roll the clip, and she the way she brings it up is she says that she was approached in Miami or something by a random woman who apparently the woman was like, oh my God, hello, so nice to meet you, and then turned to her daughter and was like, this girl has been through so much. Jeff Lewis called her a hooker on the radio or whatever, and I'm like, okay, like, why did you have to frame it like that? I guess she was trying to say, like, the people are talking on the streets.
Or that she didn't hear it firsthand because she doesn't listen to it and she doesn't have Google alerts for her name whenever she's brought up. But, I mean, I guess.
They roll the clip at least twice in this episode. And yet again, like OC, they roll the clip that you're supposed to get outraged about, and it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not good, I'll say, for future cast members. Don't lie and say that someone said something when Bravo is going to include the clip and we're going to hear firsthand that it didn't happen. It just happened on OC. We talked about this last week. Ryan Pedranti did not say, he did not pry into Tamara's life, and Tamara just said full, like, accusations that he said that he didn't say. And there's proof right there in the edit. This is the exact same thing. And I thought Erin behaved very well in the Jeff Lewis interview. She said, I don't know where Brynn gets her money, but when he said, I think someone is paying for her lifestyle, she did not smirk or laugh or do anything. She didn't add any fuel to the fire. So Brynn, it's a fake it's a fake
which
story.
Which is like a red flag for everything else she's ever accused of. But Jeff Lewis said, if you were to guess, do you think someone is helping her financially? And Erin said, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Which she then apparently apologized for anyways, just because, you know.
And then, I mean, she took it a step further. I mean, she said that she was like, a call girl, right? Like that he said that, which I guess that was
at the drinks. She goes, he said I like suck dick for money, and then Sai is like, he literally did not say that.
Yeah, Brynn does a lot of stuff like that I didn't approve of this episode. Fake that conversation, stirred up a bunch of fake shit between Aaron and Jenna, and then stirred up a bunch of fake shit with Psy. And that she is doing that. Like she is purposefully messing up everybody's relationship to try to make this show engaging, but it's actually making it worse because nothing actually substantial is happening. These are not true conflicts that are happening with this cast.
Right, and the friendships aren't close enough for it to matter anyway.
Yeah. Then there's another through line where Aaron and Jenna hung out once in the off season. They got I don't know. I think they went to what did they say? The Hamptons?
Round Swamp Farms.
They went to Round Swamp Farms. They tried the Bethany chicken salad, and Jenna's car, which is a kind of like a classic car,
vintage Mercedes.
Sometimes those don't start. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a vintage car, but sometimes they don't start. And Aaron had to pay the Uber. And I guess when Aaron was relaying the story of how Jenna had to get back home, she said that Jenna didn't pay because she probably has money trouble. Mm-hmm. And then I think that Aaron might have said that in a way that was just so unfunny that people thought that she was truly saying that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, I know that Brynn didn't really think that she said that and is just making a meal out of it to try to make Aaron look bad and try to generate conflict on this show that is very boring. So I don't care where it lands because neither of them had good intentions with what they did with this information.
Totally. We also got another Jenna closet purge, which for me personally, I'm like, that is a big part of your value is that we want to see your closet. So I'm glad that they know that.
Yeah, good. Oh, okay, so I close my eyes during scenes like that. I just don't get any enjoyment out of it. Any fun stuff that she was talking about?
I just always want to see what she's got. I could have spent even more time in there, but
wow.
Yeah, they kind of used it as a device to introduce her potential future mother-in-law, and then that's where Raquel gets her first moment.
Yeah.
Which I did like that, like, they are, like, she tells her one of the pairs of shoes is ugly or whatever, and she's like, we have very different taste. Like, they're sort of, like, different, which is nice.
I liked the mother-in-law, actually, a lot. I think that she was great on camera. She wasn't, like, nervous or anything, and everything she said, I was like, oh, that's a fun take or whatever. I thought she was a good scene partner for Jenna.
Also, is Jenna, like, secretly evil for leaving that chair there?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Why would you watch someone go to sit in a chair that doesn't have a bottom?
I don't know if you heard this, but I had the volume turned up. She put a whoopee cushion on it as well.
That's what it was giving. Like, why would you do that?
I think that chair is impractical. And Brynn and Aaron, when they went into Jenna's closet and broke that in the premiere of season 14, maybe that chair just does that kind of collapsible thing. It wasn't just sitting there broken that entire time.
I think it doesn't have strings across the bottom. She just has a cushion sitting on top of it.
Oh, so you think that she did just leave it there as sort of a hazard?
I bet it's like an expensive chair or something. Like, it's probably worth like $5,000 or something, and she just like needs to get it fixed.
Eames.
Yeah, something like that. Like, but I'm like, then don't let people sit there. Right.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't believe that she had left that there. Anything more to say about the Jenna is poor storyline? It unnecessarily infects this entire episode. Jessel gets a little stray from it. It's so it's so badly handled. Like, Jenna doesn't care. Brynn says it really happened. It was so horrible. You had to hear her. And then Aaron even does something even faker and lamer, and she tries to drag Jessel into it when Jessel sat there innocently and said, I think it was a joke. Who cares? Let's get over this. And then Aaron says, I'm so disappointed in you, Jessel, hoping that there's going to be some meat on this bone that they can stretch out for multiple episodes. Horrendous. I'd give that conflict a 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
In every way. Then this is what I do like. I'm going to go here. Serendipity 3. Yes. My eyes started opening. I go, first of all, I love Serendipity 3. I've been there before in New York City.
I've seen in the movie Serendipity.
Yep, and seen it in the movie. So I was like, I love this. Abe gets a beer. He gets a Brooklyn Lager. I was like, okay, a beer at Serendipity 3 with all your kids. That's kind of fun. And it sounds like, which I didn't remember this, but Aaron and Abe have some simmering tension. They moved they moved their whole life from downtown to uptown.
Yeah.
And then Abe is saying this kind of very normal joke. He was like, the walls of our new apartment have Norman Rockwell paintings all over them. Could you imagine just sitting there tripping balls off mushrooms? And then Aaron goes, "Don't say that. Why would you say that on camera?
Why do you have to go there?
Don't talk about mushrooms on camera." And then Bravo editors, they go, let's cut in when she talked about going on a trip, a mushroom trip, basically, with Jenna Lyons last season, to prove that Aaron is being hypocritical there.
Yeah, she was like, "What are you, dumb?"
Yeah.
And she's in her confessional, she's like, "It's stupid to be on camera talking about mushrooms. Like, what was he thinking?" And I'm like, it's 2024. It was giving the space cake Amsterdam conversation on Beverly Hills, where it's like, you're grown. No one's worried about that. Like, do you think it's going to like impede a business deal or something? Like, what are you talking about?
Is it
like, do you think your kids are going to get taken away? Like,
are they illegal?
I mean, at this point, I feel like mushrooms are, I don't know about state to state, but you can buy them, I think, in certain states.
Yeah. I've done them before, and I think it's ridiculous that it was mushrooms, and she's previously talked about tripping, and I do think that Abe said, he goes, when we talk about mushrooms, it's not really about mushrooms,
right? And
he's
they're,
like
admitted deadheads.
Yeah, so I didn't. And then I sent you a clip. I don't know if you saw it, but on TikTok, but someone, a wonderful TikTok, I wish I could give credit to every TikTok I send, but they said this new RHONY cast is fighting about saying mushrooms on camera, and the old cast of RHONY had an extended 10-minute section of the reunion where they accused Dorinda of doing coke with John, and Sonia says point blank on camera that Dorinda does drugs right in front of Dorinda, and it's like, I mean, that is a complete difference from that cast and this cast of what they're willing to say on camera.
I saw a meme of, have you seen the Sex and the City episode where Kristen Johnston falls out of a window?
Wait. 6. Who's Kristen Johnson?
She was on Third Rock from the Sun.
Shit.
She basically plays this like former party girl who Carrie runs into at a civilized party, and she tries to smoke in Candice Bergen's apartment. Whoa. And there's like a blizzard outside, and they're like, you can't smoke, and she's like trying to open the window in this like high rise, and they're like, you really can't smoke here, and she does this whole monologue about how New York is dead. She's like, you can't even smoke anymore, like everything's so fucking boring. She says, I'm so bored I could die, and then she her high heel breaks and she falls out of the window. But someone posted that like her like doing the monologue about how boring it all is about her being uptight about talking about mushrooms. Like, she's like, are you kidding me? Like, this cast is so dry, we can't even talk about mushrooms.
Does that character die?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry to them.
Lexi Featherton, I think is her name.
Oh yeah. Okay, well that's a good TikTok. Anything else to say? Well, we didn't say it, but you know, the real thing.
Sad.
Oh well, too. I wasn't. Okay, you say sad. I'm gonna take.
Like it was, I think, the day of the premiere. I don't know if it happened that day, but Erin announced that her dad died, which is really brutal. And then her storyline happening underneath this marriage thing is that her mom has breast cancer and is going through chemo, and she doesn't know how to tell her kids. And I'm like, shit, like both of those things in like a year, I do feel bad. I mean, that's horrible.
I feel bad too. This episode was good. I feel bad that we're talking shit about it now, but that's not, it's okay.
No,
right?
I mean, I just feel bad. Like, that's like a lot to have going on.
Yeah, that's horrible for Erin. I hope that she's doing, okay. That is like horrible stuff. Yeah, so she was very sad about that. She doesn't even want to tell the kids at this point because she doesn't want them to have to like suffer through that. So that's horrible. So Erin is actually going through a lot of stuff. And then in addition to that, she insinuates that things are really bad between Abe and her as well. I don't think we know what that is. That is going on between them.
Yeah, she says she's not ready to go there. She doesn't even want to talk about it in her confessional. And he says there's more going on than it's not just the mushrooms. There's a storm brewing, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a sad scene, and Erin is she's got a lot of stuff going on. So I really did. I mean, not enjoy. I don't enjoy her talking about her suffering, but I thought that scene had a lot of life in it, and I was I don't know. It was a dynamic scene to me in
Totally.
an otherwise boring episode.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, are there any highlights from these drinks? I feel like we kind of covered the topics that are covered there. There's the part when Sai and Jenna are talking about, like, Sai's like, I heard that you think that I hate you. And Jenna's like, yeah, like, they're going back and forth. And Becky is like, do I want to know what you're talking about? And Jenna's like, it's probably too early for you to get involved, but you're welcome to join if you want. But she was basically like, don't bother.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, speaking of Sai, I just wanted to say that overall, this episode, another through line is Sai sort of accounting for her shitty performance last season. It's almost like a fourth wall break. Every confessional she has, she's saying, I don't know why the hell I was screaming at Jessel. I had this horrible perception of Jessel when I actually think that she's nice. I thought she was like a spoiled rich girl, or that's what Jessel says. She doesn't know why the hell she said, I detest Jenna. So there's this through line going on where Jenna says, I heard that you hate me at my house. And Sai's like, no, I didn't say that. And then it sounds like she said, I don't like Jenna at all, which is absolutely a horrible thing to say about someone. And Jenna can be just as pissed about that. I mean, it's basically the exact same language that Sai has to account for how she feels about Jenna. But I felt this entire episode, Sai was saying, I heard your feedback, and I am turning a new leaf this season.
Yeah.
Because we were commenting last season. I mean, Sai made a lot of weird decisions last season.
Yeah.
So I felt that. I felt that as like, I felt like she was like, please don't think of me last season. I'm the new Sai. I'm zenned out, and I'm not going to act like that anymore.
Yeah. But then ultimately she does kind of go apeshit by the end. So I'm like, maybe she just is like that.
I think that was actually more earned. So what happens at the very end of the episode, so there was that bar scene, which you said had that Sex in the City vibe. I liked the guys having the conversation. I was like, this is about as boring as it gets. Pavitt and I forget Bryn's brother, who she brought in as a scene partner.
Yeah.
And then Abe are going like, how long do you think you can breathe or not breathe? Can we try that right now for 10 seconds? And it's like the worst conversation you've ever heard in your life. But I did like when
you out when Abe went behind the bar.
Yes, because
healthcare violation.
Yes, because I was just imagining how steamed that bartender would be when he came back. That is like the most offensive thing you can do when you're waiting too long and you make it yourself. I think I've seen that. I must be like, I'm like, it affects me to see someone do that, because I felt like the bartender was actually pissed when he got back.
Yeah, and he so didn't know what the hell he was doing that he used cherry juice instead of olive juice.
Yeah, but it gave me something.
Yeah.
I liked him going behind the bar and making a cherry vodka drink, but their conversation was very boring. But what I was going to say about Sai is that I think that Sai doesn't like that Bryn is overinflating things to make Sai look bad and foster more conflict, and that's what Bryn has been doing. So Sai kind of had her last straw. And also Bryn, when you look at the flashback, Bryn did throw Sai under the bus when she told Uba what Sai said about the Connecticut thing. I barely remember this, but I think I've got it right. Yeah. And Sai was really upset that Bryn took a story in confidence that Uba had told her, and she thought that Bryn was her friend, and Bryn spread it out loud, got Uba really mad at Sai, and Sai was like, you just ruined my friendship with Uba over something that I told you in confidence. That's like rule number 1 of friendship. Yeah. So I felt like Sai's anger at Bryn was earned, and then by the time the reunion happened, Sai was the least favored cast member, and Bryn felt like she had power, so she felt like she could ride off Sai by that point, and she goes, I'm good on Sai. I don't need to be your friend, even though she was the one who committed an egregious act against Sai. So I don't like that behavior at all. So I think Sai was fed up with Bryn, and it sounds like this whole cast is fed up with Bryn. It seems like no one really had a lot of interactions with Bryn in the off season, because she does this all the time to everyone.
Yeah. I hated when where did I write it down? At the end, Bryn is like, because Sai goes off on her and calls her like a narcissist, gaslighting asshole, and she keeps saying like, "Not today, Satan," which they keep both Jenna on Watch What Happens Live and Bryn in the episode is like, "She called me Satan," and I'm like, "Not today, Satan" is a well-known phrase.
Yeah.
That's not calling you Satan. That's saying "Not today, Satan."
Yes. I couldn't believe it either. I was like, that is just a phrase people say. And then also Bren was like, "I'm not Satan. I'm Satan's fourth wife." Yeah. She tried to like make it fun. It's like
she ate. And then she goes, when she's crying to her brother, she's like, because Sai says that she wreaks havoc everywhere she goes. And Bryn is like, "I giggle and laugh all day." Like, what do you mean? Like, I just giggle and laugh all day. And I'm like, all right, enough.
Yeah, you don't just giggle and laugh. I don't know what's wrong. I'm like wondering what Bryn thinks she's the producer puppet, like Tamra, except a less effective Tamra that only creates garbage conflict.
Right.
Like, yeah. So I don't know what she's doing. I don't know if she thinks that this is her role in the show, but you need to do things on your own that are not just starting shit between other cast members, because it's going to wear thin. And, you just need to do something, on your own that we enjoy watching.
Right. And then I feel like one of the more viral takeaways from this episode is that it's revealed that Sai texted Jessel, or I guess apparently I watched a video later that it was a group text that said, "Fuck you, Jessel, and your Dory from Finding Nemo lookalike husband too." And then it cuts to Pavic just standing there, which it was funny. But Sai was saying, I watched on Instagram or TikTok or something, she was like, "I don't even understand why that came up, because that was like a year ago."
Okay. Yeah. So she just used something horrible when Jessel and Sai were in a horrible place to bring back to try to ruin Sai and Jessel's relationship for this season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, anything else that we missed? Did we touch upon everything in this premiere?
I think so. Yeah, I was like watching Jenna on Watch What Happens After. I was just like, it's kind of like trying to get blood from a stone. Like, wow. I just don't really get it. Like, Andy was like, "A lot of people didn't think you would come back. Why did you come back?" And I'm trying to remember what she even said. Like, it wasn't an exciting answer. I was just like, yeah, but seriously, why? Like, I don't seem like you like it.
I don't understand the Jenna Lyons fervor at all. I think I've said that a lot. If you didn't know who Jenna Lyons was before this, and you were just like, "This is a person that's on this RHONY cast," nobody would be saying, "This is the most fun cast member I've ever seen in my life." It's only that she has clout from her name that anybody is excited by what she's doing. No offense to her. It's not, we've said this so many times. It's no one's fault if you're not good on a Bravo show. It's just, some people aren't, and it's not indicative of your character or anything, but like Jenna, you're just, you're not
too normal.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Good. I think we covered everything that I really wanted to talk about RHONY. So let's end the RHONY discussion. And I don't know, what the hell are we going to do? Are we going to
do Salt Lake? I could go straight through to Salt Lake. I'm doing that. Or if you want to pause, I can do that too.
You know what? Straight through.
Let's do it. And then
no certified turtle piss break.
And then do OC.
Yep. Okay, so we're an hour and a half in for Little Turtle Cuties checking their watches. This quite possibly could be the longest episode of Turtle Time.
We're going to make it quick.
Did that new structure save time?
Good question. I feel like we still gave it a lot of time.
If you didn't notice, we tried a little bit of a new format. Let's see if we can do the test with Salt Lake City. Okay, so
Salt Lake, we don't have to set everything up, No.
So right, exactly. We're not starting from scratch here. This is in the middle of a season. Okay, so how did you enjoy this episode of Salt Lake City? It was called Bubblegum, Basketball, Brow Girl, and Bobbleheads, if I'm correct.
Yeah, you mixed them up, but yeah. Basketball, Bobbleheads, and the Brow Girl. I did get excited because I've discussed before, either here or Patreon, that my sister is obsessed with bobbleheads, and she has been to this museum.
No way! Does she watch Salt Lake City?
Yeah. She went to. She always follows the Dodgers to different stadiums. Like, she's trying to go to all the U.S. stadiums. And a few months ago, she went to the Milwaukee. what are they, Brewers? Is that what they
I'm
are?
not sure. I'm not
Sorry
sure.
if I'm wrong, but she went to that stadium and they went to the Bobblehead Museum. So I texted her. I was like, "Holy shit!"
That's so fun. That is so fun.
Yeah.
So I want to say, well, I'll just say I loved this episode. I want to just say it now. I thought like maybe 8 or 9 out of 10 on my scale. I felt like the first 2 episodes were not great. I felt like they had the same issues that RHONY did, where they were starting a bunch of garbage conflict. But now I think that they're enough in to where they're starting new stuff, and the old shit that I didn't like fizzled out. And I just loved them on this Milwaukee trip. I think it provided a lot of energy, and I loved seeing Milwaukee. I felt like we really did do like a tour of a city that I've never been to before, and it had the benefit of visiting a city through the lens of Salt Lake City, which I really liked.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was just overall fun, and the stuff they added to this season, like Jared Osmond, there's more Jared Osmond stuff I loved. I loved the Alibaba shit. I was like, God damn, go for it, Meredith. And I loved Angie K. I thought Angie K was ripping it this episode with the Greek freak meeting. Yeah. It was just it had everything I love about Salt Lake City. I feel like they were a little rusty and they didn't know what they were doing the first 2 episodes, even though there was that great chunk in the last weeks. But this one, I feel like was kind of just ripping the entire time. I was enjoying it a lot.
Yeah. Did you get a little scared? That PJ seemed even a little small for me. I didn't like it.
Oh, you just gave me chills. One of them said, I didn't know who it was. They go, I usually take a Xanax before flying. And I was like, oh God, I know that feeling too well. It looked scary.
That was like one of the smaller ones we've ever seen. Like it was truly like every seat was filled.
Did you see when they panned to like the mimosas and stuff?
Yeah. But I did enjoy, I know that I felt like maybe you would have enjoyed Bronwyn's yellow submarine fur coat.
Oh, I must have looked down for 1 second. What was she wearing?
Her fur coat had all the yellow submarine beetles on the back.
It did? Well, when she arrived to Milwaukee or in the plane?
In the plane, yeah.
It had Ringo as a yellow submarine cartoon?
All of them.
Whoa, I need to look at that. Oh my God, I don't look at fashion for even 1 second. That is pretty awesome. I love that.
Also, my sister sent me photos from when she went to the Bobblehead Museum, and one of the ones she sent me was the Fab Four.
Oh my God, everyone go to YouTube right now. 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 12 seconds. Go to YouTube immediately. Amy is showing me the Fab Four. They're in their Ed Sullivan era. This is before
they started. Great Hannibal Lecter.
Oh my God. Hannibal Lecter bobblehead. These are exclusive photos from the Bobblehead Museum that they didn't even show you in Salt Lake City. Wow. Yeah, I was going to say,
here, folks.
Yeah. You got to go to YouTube, everybody. That was great. So I love this episode. Did you feel a little less stoked than me, or did you enjoy it?
No, I thought it was fun. I just watched it like right before we recorded, so I only watched it once, and yeah, I was entertained. I do think Angie is shining, like earning her place for sure.
She really is. I'm starting to see why they put that gigantic snowflake in her arms in the middle of that opening. I was like, I told you, when I was watching RHONY, I go, oh God, oh no, please, for the love of God. And then when they got to Angie and Sean, I was like, I could watch Angie do almost about anything right now. And especially when she was bringing up the brow girl stuff, I was like, wow, this is a great thing.
Receipts.
Yes. I was like, and you're not doing what Monica did, which when they show that flashback, I laughed out loud because Monica, in the worst way ever, goes, she's like, what are the rumors? And it's like, the rumors are that Sean is fucking people all over town, fucking men all over town. It's like, you brought that to the forefront and you said it in the most callous way possible. Yeah. And Angie K is doing the exact opposite. She knows this firsthand. She knows Jared Osmond has been DMing everyone in town to try to go on dates with them. And she's wondering how to appropriately bring this information to Brittany. I love that moral conundrum that she brings to this instead of just utilizing it as fodder for conflict. I thought that was great and very well played. Done. Yeah, well played.
Yeah. I also like that it appears that Mary is being forced to participate.
Yes.
Like, even though she didn't get on that same plane, I feel like normally she just wouldn't have gone. and they're just like, yeah, you're going, bitch.
What do you think? I think I think I posited that Mary was told to attend every cast trip, or she can no longer be a part of this cast, and
Yeah.
she really had to make a decision whether or not she wanted to do this. But I will say, I don't know if they are editing all of Mary's horrible moments from this season, but I do think that Mary is getting a very good edit so far. She has not said one mean-spirited thing except about Brittany. There's no truly awful things that come out of nowhere.
On that other new girl's weight on the last episode, but
Oh, you're right. Okay, they left a little bit in, but for the most part, I think Andy Cohen commented this too. She does seem a little more lighthearted and laughing a lot. And if they're editing around it, I that's probably not good. But from what I'm seeing, I'm like, Mary seems to enjoy being on this show a lot more. And she even, if you saw, I don't think we'll ever like get to this point, so I'm going to bring it up now. When Whitney arrived, or when Mary arrived to Milwaukee, Whitney and Mary had this like celebratory dance and hug where Whitney was going, Mary, Mary. And I was like, wait, I don't remember this repaired relationship. I thought Whitney and Mary absolutely hated Whitney. So it's like, I think Mary just decided to abandon all past grudges and only focus on maybe Brittany for her ire.
Yeah, because even Whitney was like, if anyone else said they were going on a different plane, I would give them shit for it, but I'll give you a pass. Yeah. And then I feel like we're getting more just kooky Mary. Like, for instance, she brings up that her dad is from Milwaukee and that she claims he lived a block away from Jeffrey Dahmer and that he used to walk by that apartment all the time and it had a questionable smell.
Yeah, it smelled like what we can say, because this is our horror themed episode, it smelled like decaying bodies. Well, that's not funny. Well, so I do you believe this anecdote?
I think it's probably like maybe there was like one little granule of truth, like he lived in the same neighborhood or something, and then it like exploded into that.
I know Jeffrey Dahmer's place smelled, but could it have truly smelled to where someone to the street? Could it have smelled where you could be walking by and say, "Whoa, that whole complex smells really bad"? I don't know. But I think you're right. I think I think it was like urban legend and he lived in that neighborhood, but I don't know if he was passing by and they smell that thing. But if I remember the Ryan Murphy show, which I think I was going to ask you if you think that Mary Cosby's dad was portrayed in it, but I do remember that it smelled, but I think only the next door neighbor could get a whiff of it.
Was Niecy Nash the next door neighbor? He likes to cast her. I didn't watch that one, though.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry to spoil it.
No, I mean, I was well aware of it. I like Evan Peters, so maybe I'll watch this spooky season.
He's really good in it. The first 4 episodes are good, and then you can just completely quit it, like you said about Menendez brothers. The first half, I'm not going to say what I think about the second half, but the first half is just so much better than the second half.
All right, maybe I'll throw it on.
Good. Oh, okay. I wanted to ask you. We already talked about this a little bit, but I have never been to Milwaukee, and I loved getting this firsthand, or not firsthand, but secondhand glimpse at everything. So I loved almost every aspect of this trip. I felt like they packed in the most Milwaukee experience that you could ever have in one episode. The Bucks game, Bobblehead Museum.
Yeah, it looked fun. My sister, when she did go to the Bobblehead Museum and everywhere else she went, I remember her saying it was really a fun city. Yeah. So shout out to the Turtle Cuties who tried to reassure us in the comments that we were kind of like, why are they going to Milwaukee? And they were like, no, it's great. And so now I have to say, I believe you.
Yeah, we took our cues from the cast because Meredith was going, why the hell would I want to go to Milwaukee in February? So I thought Milwaukee could be great, and I think it shined in this episode. I love the Bobblehead Museum. Did you like that scavenger hunt that they were doing?
Yeah, it seemed pretty easy.
It was like these two football playing brothers, one of which dates Taylor Swift.
Yeah, it'd be like this blonde bombshell Hollywood icon, like famous for a white dress. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Were there any others?
uh, I don't remember. Um, I also Milwaukee, like you were saying. I do like that Heather is such a Wayne's World stan.
Yeah, I didn't remember that joke. I only have seen Wayne's World 1 and 2 once, and
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
don't really.
remember.
Yeah, that's not a big one for me. But she, on the other hand, speaking of Watch What Happens Live, she was on with Sarah Paulson by Sarah Paulson's request, and I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, she's great,
Sarah Paulson.
and Heather.
Heather's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, of
like she's
course.
so fun to watch and
Oh,
just like confident and like feels like it's like she's the talent, but she like is in on the joke, but not to an
oh,
annoying degree. Like
oh,
she's kind of
yes.
perfect.
Oh, yes, of course. This cast, Salt Lake City cast, is amazing. I love Lisa Barlow. I love Heather. I'll take Whitney any day of the week over anyone on RHONY. No offense.
Yeah.
That's obviously very offensive to say, but
Yeah.
and then Meredith. I love just what Meredith brings to this cast. Mary is great. I think few and far between. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to know what the hell some stuff's going on in Mary's life. And then they got Angie K. They got another star.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was great, and I loved that Sarah Paulson was the one that was like kind of in awe of Heather when she saw that Instagram that Heather did. She was
Yeah.
like, she loves Salt Lake City. I thought that was so fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So then Heather took a bunch of the girls to the casino, which was also fun because
Yeah,
it was kind of unexpected. And I like watching people gamble their real money.
yeah, I love that too.
And yeah, Lisa Barlow was like, Mormonism is anti anything addictive. But like, I don't have a problem, so it doesn't matter. And that's why I call myself Mormon 2.0, which
I like those
um,
loopholes.
is relevant to the Mormon real, what's it called? Mormon wives? I can never remember what it's called.
The Mormon
Real
wives of
Mormon wives.
I don't think they could get away with calling it the real.
Right. Mormon, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. The
Of
Hulu
course,
one.
yeah.
It's renewed, by the way.
Oh, good.
And one of them, the one that her husband said that he was related to Ben Affleck but isn't, on the episode when they go to Vegas, he almost divorces her for going to Chippendales. But meanwhile, he is gambling her money, her
So
TikTok money.
that's what I'm saying. All of these sins are the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're going to gamble,
Yeah.
let someone get a Chippendales dance. You're both
Totally.
committing cardinal sins that you're
Totally.
potentially going to go to hell for if you don't repent. Okay, and then my favorite moment. This is one of my favorite moments. Meredith really brought it back to Whitney. I loved how this is handled. The exact opposite of how Angie K handled the other shit delicately, the Britney shit. Meredith said, "I'm gonna bring something up on camera to Heather." Heather goes, "How are you with Whitney? It seems awful." And Meredith's like, "Yeah, she's horrible to me. I don't know what the hell's going on. She's stealing my bath products. She treats me like shit."
Yeah.
Did you know, by the way, that her shit on her Prism website is Alibaba shit that is marked up 20%? She goes, "Someone tagged me in social media with the screenshots from Alibaba. It
Yeah.
says Four
Somebody
Seasons."
did a reverse search.
Yeah, it says baby Four Seasons necklace or something. And then Whitney is selling a $3 necklace for $70 or
Yeah.
$50 on Prism. I mean, I can't think of a more damning accusation than that. If I had bought stuff from Prism and I found out that she had purchased it for $3 from Alibaba, I would be absolutely livid and want my
Yeah.
money back immediately.
I like that Meredith pulled the thing where she goes, I'm not spreading rumors. It was already out there.
Yes, I love that. And also, you and I are so tapped into Bravo News, and we loved Salt Lake City Season 4 so much that I think it would have gotten on our radar if we found out that Whitney's Prism store was filled with Alibaba goods. I don't think
Yeah.
that was very well out in the world. I'm
Right.
hearing
I
that
mean,
I was...
Am I so cynical that doesn't surprise me? So I didn't think it was that much of a bombshell.
I mean,
I expect all the housewives to be selling me like absolute piece of shit trash that they're marking up. Like I just believe that already.
I don't. I think that some do that. For me, I thought Prism would be a step above that. Garbage. I did have some friends go to Salt Lake City. They went to Meredith's store, and this is so mean. I don't mean to say this to Meredith, but they said that there were ghosts in her, what's it called, Mark's store.
Oh, right.
And they said that a tumbleweed was rolling through, and there was a bunch of it was not the most.
It didn't look very well merchandised on the show.
Yeah. So, but to me, you're not cynical, but for me, if I found out firsthand that someone bought something on Amazon for $1 and I went to a store, like I don't know what the example would be that I buy. I don't buy a lot of stuff, but I found out I bought it from someone that I love and it was $80 and I knew they bought it for $1, I would be so upset. I would
say joke's on you for not checking the like what metal is it?
All right.
Is it 14 karat? Is it gold plated? Is it because if you're willing to pay for something that's just like, I mean, it's one thing. I haven't looked into how it's represented. It is a gag though that she literally used the same image.
I
like,
think
she didn't even bother. I
had higher hopes for Whitney. I find it to be awful. I really do. I'm like, that sucks. Like, your store sucks. Like, I remember when Sheree did it, it was She by Shein or whatever. Remember, she was marking up all that garbage. Like, I think if you're going to sell a product, I don't know what this says about me, but like, make it original to you, and please at least think about it a little bit that you're selling. You don't need to sell us complete fucking garbage. Yeah. So then Meredith got that out. I loved it. And then I think Heather had one of the weirdest reactions to something I've ever seen. Everything Heather did was odd to me. She goes, She goes, so someone must be trying to ruin Whitney's life by getting that information out. That is so horrible. Who would ever do that? I think that she was trying to like accuse Monica of doing that really? Or something. Yeah, or just saying like she didn't blame Whitney for doing this horrible, shitty thing. She wanted to cast doubt upon the person that brought this to light and didn't comment at all that Whitney is ripping people off in her shitty store. I thought that was a really odd reaction. And then next, she goes, Meredith, well, what did you say? Did you offer your guidance and help for the Prism store, because of your business knowledge? Right. And you can watch Meredith, like, she's confused in the scene.
Well, she was like she was acting like under these circumstances that Whitney, this happened without her knowledge or something. Like she was like, you should offer your help to tell her how to avoid flubs like this. And I'm like, why don't you think that she knew exactly what she was doing and was like, order 20,000 units of garbage and sell it for hire? Like, why wouldn't that be her fault?
Isn't it her store? Isn't she doing this? Like, I don't know. Unless Heather knows something more. Maybe maybe you're right. Maybe Prism is like Prism by Whitney Rose and she has absolutely nothing to do with it. Maybe Heather knows that. But for me, it was a very odd reaction. I didn't understand it. And then the advice to give to Meredith was kind of like, what the hell are you talking about? We're fighting. I don't like her. She treats me like shit. She steals all my products. Why are you recommending that I, as a business person, tell her the right way to not buy stuff off Alibaba and put it on her Prism website? Right. It was like it was just a full flop in my mind. I didn't understand it at all.
I didn't think it was worth Heather relaying the caviar comment either. Like, I'm like, that doesn't need to be repeated. Like, it was about basically her tone. Like, I'm like, you had to tell her that. And then Meredith was like, is her next olive branch going to be creating her own caviar line?
Yeah, no, I really, Meredith handled all this garbage really well. She goes, Heather, please, what are you saying? You're saying that Whitney said I should bring caviar for the entire group, and that's an olive branch? What the hell kind of olive branch was that? Like, Meredith was just on a complete... Unless she meant that it
would be featured on camera. But...
Possibly. There might be a subtext to all this shit, but for me, just at face value, I was just like, Heather, this doesn't make any sense to me what you're doing, and Meredith should by no means help Whitney through this situation after how Whitney has treated her.
Oh my gosh, speaking of caviar and excess, did you see that Bronwyn's husband has gout?
I paused, I said, I can't wait to talk to Amy. He's got King's disease. He is so rich that he got what people used to say back in the day was king's disease, which is when you can eat so much food like a king that unfortunately your leg gets gout. What is we on Patreon? I think we kind of dissected what gout is, right?
loving the definition of gout, but I just thought it was funny that gout came up again.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and he is a wealthy, wealthy person. His name is Todd, yeah, I thought it was very interesting too. Bronwyn was like, "I'm having sex with someone with King's disease." Also, Todd was wearing a different. You told me last week. I thought he was wearing that "Don't tread on me, join or die" sweater, but he's wearing those like Gucci animal stuff. Now I know that he wears them every day.
This one was Ralph Lauren, the teddy bear.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
stay with me. I'll let you know what each designer animal is.
so they both made a product that's like exactly the same with a different animal.
The Ralph Lauren bear, they have like all kinds of them. They have like sometimes the bear's wearing like a tux, and sometimes he's wearing like a sweater, and it's like they have all kinds of them.
That's cute. Has Paddington ever been on there?
They should. I would buy that immediately. I kind of wanted the Ralph Lauren Olympic sweater, but it was expensive.
Oh, how much?
It was like $500.
Oh, all right. I don't think I can get it for you for your birthday. I'm sorry, honey. $500.
One day.
One day. Okay. Anything else to say about Prism and its horrible practices, or the casino in general?
No, except it looked fun. And then the next thing I have is just I have to comment on Mary's hot tip that potentially if you put a tampon in, it will make you not have to pee, which quite honestly, I'm intrigued by.
I was thinking of you again.
Because I always have to pee.
Yeah, well, that, and then remember the Beyonce concert. I remember we talked about what your strategy was going to be so that you could piss your brains out at that show, and I thought that would have been a good strategy. Do you think it works?
Heather said on Watch What Happens that some people on the show have since tried it and said that they thought it did work.
That's amazing. I wonder what it does psychologically to you.
Right. It might also have something to do with like your pelvic floor, like changing, not to get into vagina sensations, but something about like, it's basically like the equivalent of like holding your crotch the way a little kid does when they have to pee. You know what I mean?
Of course. And then Mary said, yeah, she never uses the toilet in any public space.
That's insane.
Larry David follows that rule too. If I remember
for number one.
Oh, you're right. No, he goes to the bathroom tons of times in public. Just number two
is insane.
Yeah.
I literally think of Larry every time I am doxing myself. Every now and then I pee. I preface this by saying I pee extremely fast. Like ask anyone that knows me. I pee like they blink and I'm done. So I don't feel as bad doing this, but sometimes I will end up using a handicap stall. Okay. But I'm in and out so fast that, but every time I do it, I think of Larry going,
"Oh yeah,
but you wait."
Yeah, that is great. Wow, yeah, no, that's fine. You're allowed to do that if no one's there, right?
Yeah, I'm in and out. I'm like Superman or Wonder Woman in the
It's so booth. And I firsthand. I mean, we used to time it in early Turtle Time days. You'd come back in like 15 seconds.
When I go to the movies with people and I like run to the bathroom and come back, they're like, "What the hell?"
That's so.
They're
cool.
like, "Did you even go?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, baby, I went."
Yeah, I'm the opposite. This is
it's your sweet time.
Oh, I go. Yeah, I keep peeing. Well, we don't have to talk about it anymore. But okay, next thing I had on my list, I did love that Mary moment. She was providing a lot of stuff, and then my second favorite thing of this episode, or maybe even first favorite, was Brittany having a tough time on this trip. Where
she's getting the poor soul edit.
No, I don't think I've seen this type of thing, which I'm very familiar with, this type of behavior. I have not seen this on a Bravo show by a Bravo cast member, but I felt Brittany's energy. I felt for her so much during this time where she is so insecure in her relationship and so worried about what the hell Jared Osmond is doing, / also wanting to be with him nonstop to make this relationship stay alive, that she was calling him nonstop and texting him, I think probably 15 times this day on the first day of the trip, and FaceTiming him. He was hanging up on her. He did the most generic, emotionless text back. "Sorry, I missed call. I don't know what I was doing." No follow-up, no try to call back, to the point where Lisa had to take the phone from her and goes, "Let me text this person because he's treating you basically like a piece of shit, and I'm going to give him the response that he deserves." And it was a good text that Lisa did. It was like, basically, fuck off. I'm having the time of my life. I don't think I'll ever be able to talk to you for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So bye for now. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, that was satisfying. Like basically everyone agrees that she needs to move on and that he sucks.
Yeah.
And yeah, we get the Angie, she shows Bronwyn the texts or the DMs from her brow girl. And she's like, it's kind of amazing because Brittany's on the FaceTime right in front of her at the basketball game.
Yes.
And Angie's just talking to Bronwyn, like the camera, like you just see the whole thing going on.
So it happened organically.
Yeah.
You see Angie weighing the decision with Bronwyn. Bronwyn says, I think you should tell her. And then Brittany says, were you just talking about me? And then Angie goes, you just opened the floor. I'm going to say it. I wanted to ask you really quick, just to end the Brittany, like how many times she called Jared Osmond. That means that after Lisa texted that thing, Brittany must have said, ignore. That was Lisa. Please call me whenever you can.
Yeah.
Because she started calling him again. She couldn't even wait the full 3 or 4 hours till bedtime to let the full day pass without checking in on him. She disregarded the Lisa text.
I do believe that she's desperate and likes him more than he likes her, but I'm also like, maybe she knows that the Osmond is her golden ticket. And so she's like, I gotta have him up in here with me, which, I mean, it is one of the more intriguing aspects.
It's so intriguing. The fact that it's Jared Osmond is so intriguing. We keep talking, like, you know, it's just makes it inherently more interesting that this is Donnie and Marie's son. But
Brother? Son?
Oh, I
nephew?
think nephew actually. But I understand this fully. I get it. I've seen this happen in real life. I've been through situations like that. Like, I understand. I just haven't seen it on Bravo before. So I was stunned, but I totally understand everything about it. So, And then she gets the, you know, the news, which when you did you look at Jared's DM to that person?
He was like, you look interesting or whatever. And they like go back and forth. And she's like, I am a little bit of a handful. And he goes, do tell, with the tongue out emoji.
Yeah. He goes, I bet that's the case. Do tell, full blown tongue out.
I can't even like believe that people, I know that that's the entire humanity on the internet, but like ooh, what's going on over here? Like, you've caught my eye.
He was trying to talk to her, and he liked her, and then it got like more it got deeper, and I saw the text. They tried to just highlight what he said, which is that Brittany and I are not together. This was from a couple of weeks ago. Like, I'm sure, like, when Brittany started filming, she was in a relationship with Jared, and he said at this time that they were broken up. But he said, she's broken up with me. She's also dating just like me. We're both two wolves, on the prowl. So disregard her completely. But it sounds like possibly Jared does that all the time. He doesn't establish that this is actually a confirmed relationship. They break up all the time, and then he gets the excuse to do whatever the fuck he wants and betray her because they're not in a real relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
And no, it was sad. And Angie is like, I do need to tell you about this. And she doesn't even have to say very much. She's just like, FYI, he has been DMing with my brow girl, and it's been very flirtatious. He asked for her number. He said you weren't together. And she just immediately is like, please excuse me, and goes and cries. Yeah.
It's not, I don't take joy in misery, but on the, sometimes it was an interesting storyline. It provided like a unique perspective. I can't believe she's going through this with Jared Osmond. I can't believe that she found out right there at the Bucks game in the suite that Angie K's brow girl had this information. And obviously I felt so bad for her too. She went, I loved Meredith again. I got to give Meredith a lot of credit. She kind of handled herself really well this entire episode. She was the one to go comfort Brittany. She walked her to the toilets or whatever. Yeah. She got her the toilet paper to wipe her eyes with and stuff. Meredith was like, I would want somebody to do this for me, even though I don't know her very well. Like, Meredith was there to be with her through that time. So I thought that was sweet.
I also wanted to shout out that they had a pretty nice spread in their like buffet in their box, and Heather kept shouting out that they had a lobster corn dog, and it made me think of Schwartz and Sandy's because they have a lobster corn dog. And then I was gonna say that I don't know if we talked about it because I had plans last night, so I couldn't go anyways. But Kyle Cook was at Schwartz and Sandy's, and I'm like, if I didn't have something else going on, I totally would have gone.
Oh yeah, I saw that. So Wednesday night, this will be Friday when this comes out, but on Wednesday night, Kyle was filming himself going wild in Schwartz and Sandy's. He was stuffing lobster corn dogs down his throat, and he was DJing at Schwartz and Sandy's. So that's pretty fun. And it looks like he did another story with Schwartz yesterday when this comes out. He was just like hanging out at his place.
Damn. I mean, he'll be back, but I was disappointed not to go. Okay, and then we can just round this out by saying, like, Bronwyn gets into it with Lisa. She's saying that, like, basically, she's like, you guys, as in Lisa and Heather, sort of conned me into gossiping and then used it against me, even though you said mean shit about Maylee. Lisa said that she's on red alert at Nordstrom for returning too much shit. She might get banned.
Have you been on that list before?
No, I'm very mindful about my returns.
Okay, I have. It's horrible when you go to Nordstrom and they pull out that big thing with a bunch of people's faces on it. It's one of the most embarrassing things you can ever go through.
RHONY also had a Nordstrom Rack shout out, so it's a Nordstrom week.
Yeah. So Lisa, I mean, there's no other way to say it. That was a mean comment that Lisa said about another cast member, and it got right to Maylee in about 5 seconds.
Yeah, and she's like, that was just a snarky joke. And Bronwyn's like, well, you didn't let me make snarky jokes. You put me on blast, and that includes Heather too. And I kind of enjoyed that she was unafraid to immediately come after both of them and say, Bronwyn said to Heather that you need to get correct about what you're saying about me. And Heather's like, get correct. And I'm like, okay. Like, usually I'm a little bit like weary of someone new, like getting, inserting themselves, but it's directly about what they did to her. So it was good.
Heather gave Bronwyn the opportunity to come back full force with how aggressive Heather was towards her in last week's episode. I thought Bronwyn handled it really well, and she didn't go overboard or anything. And then Heather even tried to make fun of her in her confessional, doing this like very offensive impression of Bronwyn, like rubbing her hair and talking in this weird accent. And I was like, Bronwyn didn't do that. Like, you're normal. Yeah, she was very normal, and she told you right to your face to come correct. I do want to say that last week I think I misinterpreted Bronwyn a little bit. I do think Heather said on Watch What Happens Live that we're going to learn a little more about Bronwyn and that Heather might end up being in the right about Bronwyn. And I gave Bronwyn credit for telling Whitney right to her face that healing journey thing was a little more was rehearsed. But in actuality, when they play the clip again this time, she told Whitney it was iconic, that healing journey thing. And then when she was laughing her ass off with Lisa and Heather, she said it was trite, which is a very offensive. So Heather is actually right. Bronwyn didn't say exactly what she said to Whitney. She said iconic versus trite, which is two stories, which lends more credibility to what Heather called her out for.
That's true.
And then Bronwyn did another thing that I want to call out. Lisa did defend her at that churros and ice cream lunch. They show the clip again. Lisa said, that's just how Bronwyn talks. Sometimes we talk snarky. You just have to understand her. Bronwyn completely does not reference the fact that Lisa said that. And Lisa brings it up again this episode. She goes, what else could I have done for you? I told you I fully understood how you talk, and I agree with you about it. So I thought that Bronwyn is kind of... She doesn't need to get an apology from Lisa at all. Lisa properly defended her at that lunch, and she was kind of going overboard with that a little bit.
I know. She was really mad. I was kind of confused.
Okay.
But yeah, overall, good ep. And then I assume there will be... It ended at the basketball game, so there will probably be more.
Yeah. I was sad that the Greek freak, as I guess they call him, I guess
didn't get a pick with him. That
made me a little sad. I was they showed him playing on the court, and I was like, don't you see that there's another Greek legend at courtside
I
wearing
know,
big
that bummed me
sunglasses.
out. She just had to walk away.
Yeah, I was like so sad. Like they got to talk to everybody else. I hope that Giannis makes that right.
Yeah.
You know what I
Maybe
mean?
he'll
That was
come make an appearance on the second episode.
yeah. So okay, I mean, I really got everything I wanted to talk about. Alibaba, Jared Osmond, everything that I wanted to discuss. Anything else that you wanted to say about this Salt Lake City
No,
episode?
I think we did good coverage, and then I think we'll do a breezy OC, like a quick little
Just a little
chat.
just a little cherry on the top of a wonderful episode.
Yeah.
We're barely even going to talk about OC. So
Because the thing that we can't forget though that I'm surprised we didn't talk about up top, but it will be relevant with OC is the Shannon Joel Kim booster drama, which I feel like was a pretty big news item.
it was, and we completely missed it. Did Shannon do a live where she was discussing those rumors? Because I saw she did a live. Did she discuss the Joel Kim booster stuff, or is she just leaving him in
question.
the lurch? I don't think she addressed it because I think we
Okay.
would have heard her addressing those accusations. But
I-
yeah, that was a big
Yeah,
story.
I'll try and watch at least the beginning of Watch What Happens because hopefully Andy would ask about it quickly
Yeah.
at the top.
Sounds good. Okay, well, you and I, the audience won't even know what hit them. They'll think you and I were 1 second gone, but you and I are going to take certified turtle piss breaks. We're going to watch OC. We will come right back, and we are going to leisurely talk about this week's episode of OC. So we'll see you in just 1 second.
Sounds good.
Bye.